There's weird noises happening. And that's okay. I can't stop them. I unplugged the devices and the weird noises are still happening. Okay. There are weird noises happening. Hi. Something miraculous happened to me. And that is that I slept in. And that literally has not happened to me for years, my friends. Years. Maybe like once in the last 2 years have I slept in. So I feel very happy about that because it feels like a kind of psychologically tormenting when you can't sleep in. Like when you're like, I need to sleep more, and I'm awake, and it's 6 a.m. Okay, so hello. We're just running a few minutes behind. No big deal. We're on divine time. And I'm just going to go to everyone. Cam Church. Ding, 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 ding. Okay, I'm going to switch Wi-Fis, which I have here. And last week we were on page 56. I should pull up the... How is everyone? Say hello to each other in the chat. Talk about how you're feeling, how you're doing, what your life is like. Think about your prayers. If you want to start sending your prayers in, we will do our prayers. So last week we did determining the all-one frequency. And today we're going to talk about greed. It's a big topic, right? My coffee cup does match my background though. I just do want to say that. And on my forehead I've got my dolphin technology. I was worried that I wasn't going to be as articulate today, but then I remembered my dolphin technology quantum grid has lapis lazuli in it, so that's holding me together in the way of words today, which is very exciting. So shout out to that. If you want to learn more about these pendants, you can go to dolphintechnology.org. And we are moving forward. It's so crazy how long it takes to get prototypes designed, manufactured, all of the different, barriers of process of quality and cost, and the price of gold went up significantly recently, and just trying to figure out pricing and everything. So right now if you pre-order, everything is 50% off, and that's for the first 100 pendants. And that's going to be probably the best deal you'll be able to get on them ever, because they just have it's just the amount of money it has taken to get them made has been incredible. It's been amazing. So they're very special devices. dolphintechnology.org. I love them. I can't wait to have them all. I feel very strongly about the crop circle one, and I haven't gotten that one in my hands yet. That one's still getting manufactured, and it's in the mail now, and I'm just I can actually feel it in the mail on its way to me, because it's like a portal into the new age, basically. It's a Mayan calendar depiction of December 21st, 2012. Which is when the Mayan calendar ended, and also the day that I started UNICULT. There's a lot there. So let's send in our prayers. We have some announcements. The announcements are join UNICULT. Join Unicult.com. UNICULT is a collaborative effort dedicated to the promotion of joy. If you have not yet joined UNICULT, now is your time, and you can still say you did it before everyone else did, and you can be kind of a hipster in that way. And is the stream glitchy for you guys? It's kind of glitching out for me a little bit here. And if you join Unicult, you get access to our Discord server. We have a ton of amazing people in there. We have people who go through all kinds of things in the server, and we have people who are inventing things, and people who are just living their normal lives, and musicians and artists and star seeds. It's an incredible place. So if you're looking for like your internet family, like it's probably the place you will find them. If you're a deep thinker, if you question society, if you want things to be better, Unicult is where you want to go. It's where you want to be. An incredible community. And also when you join, you support us in our online efforts to spread joy. It helps us maintain our subscriptions to things, which allow us to edit the cam churches and then send them out among all the beautiful people. I have a candle and I have a lighter, and they're on the other side of the house, and I think we'll just use our third eyes. Our third eyes. I've been helping my child learn how to use their third eye when they get impatient. So my kid will be like, I want that, and I'll be like, okay, use your third eye and imagine what it will feel like to have that. You're gonna have it, but just let's sit in the feeling of it first, and then, okay, and he like uses his third eye. Also, yesterday we were walking, I was carrying my kid through a dark room, and I was explaining like how just because we don't have our vision doesn't mean we can't use our other senses, like our ears and our noses. And then all of a sudden I got tapped into his frequency and like how he perceives reality, and it was this electric glowing aura. It was like very electric. It was almost like that picture of Cats on Acid where it was like lightning bolts coming from his body, and I saw him just like glowing with this light, and I saw how he would be able to sense any physical objects in that electric presence, and I was like, yep, just like that, that's it, that's the stuff. And I was like kind of shaken by it because I never experienced my own energy field like that. But the thing is that kids have a expanded awareness. They have an expanded range of electromagnetic powers that we talk them out of by limiting their perspective and by saying like, oh, well, that's not real, or like, I don't know what you're talking about, or just never validating it or never acknowledging it. The ability to sense those things drops away, and we get sort of confined into the perception of reality that we know as our societal reality. So if you simply affirm a child's ability to see auras or experience any other kind of ESP, you can actually help them maintain those abilities and keep them intact as they turn into an adult and get indoctrinated into society. ESP. Oh, we got an echo. I'm glad I checked. Let's see. Okay, that should be better. Echo. You need blessed to everyone. Let's do our prayers. Yeah, much better. Okay. Spirit of Uni, we are calling you here today into this beautiful Cam Church. We are calling all the viewers of the past, present, and future. We are calling for divine essence, divine energy to flow through us to deliver this sermon so that it reaches the exact right people it's meant to reach, and so it awakens within them the exact right things it's meant to awaken. We are praying for all of the happenings on earth to continue going exactly right according to divine plan. We're praying for the success of UNICULT, the success of dolphin technology, and for the enlightenment of all beings. We're praying for all of our manifestations to come true. And we're praying for you, each and every one of you. Uni bless. I'm going to start I don't know if I should do Instagram or TikTok. TikTok. I think we get a bigger reach on TikTok. And Instagram's like threatening to take live away anyways. I want to be like, do you know who I am? Do you know who I am? That's what I want to say to Mark Zuckerberg. And he'll be like, no, even though he does. Okay. Cam Church. Ding, 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 ding. Praying for all to find their path to happiness. So true. My hair is not quite long enough to fit into here, but that's okay. All right, welcome to Cam Church. My name is Unicole Unicron. It is my honor to have your attention. Today, we are talking from the book, A Spiritual Approach to Emergent Technology, which is a book that I wrote about how we are moving forward in this technological age and how you can become empowered to navigate all of the changes in the society in a way that changes the world and also makes your own life a lot better. A Spiritual Approach to Emergent Technology can be found on Amazon or on UNICULT Supply Co. on Etsy. If you want a signed copy, you can get it on Etsy. And there's also a digital version on Etsy if you want to read it on your tablet or something. It's a PDF version. I could probably make an EPUB version too if someone wants that. All right, today we're talking specifically about the all-one frequency and designing for the all-one frequency. And we're also going to be talking about greed. And greed is like such an interesting topic because my perception of greed is kind of as the underlying problem with this world. Like greed itself is almost like a disease that has infected the planet and has actually gotten into the architecture of our minds. And you can think of it like being obsessed with capital. You know, every single person makes every single decision with the idea of capital somewhere in their head. Dating decisions, where they're going to live, what they're going to buy, what they're going to eat. The majority of people have the idea of money somewhere in their head with every single decision that they make for their own lives. And that is a parasite in our minds that is taking us away from thinking about what genuinely, truly benefits us. So we've been talking in the last couple of weeks a lot about the benefit-detriment relationship. How do you follow your own intuition towards the highest divine reality, which is the beneficial reality? And how do you stop doing things which spiral you down into the detrimental reality? This is based on your own internal compass, and only you can know if something is truly good for you or truly bad for you. We trust the individual to determine their own unique reality and to say what is good for them and what is not good for them. Because we have so much built into groupthink, into, the newest iPhone, into our social structure, most people are making decisions not based on their true heart, but based on what the majority of other people are doing or what their friends are doing or what they are being pressured to do or how things are normalized or what's necessary in society. But when we understand that when we create technology that actually benefits every single person, we uplift the world. The fact that we are all one means that everything that we do affects another person. The best way that I have found to describe it is the idea that Earth is a closed loop system. It's a water-based planet. Any kind of poison that you put into a river or a stream or an ocean will simply come back to you. We are living in an energy soup. We are all interconnected with each other. And anything that you do which harms another person always harms yourself first and last. You are all that is. You are interconnected with all that is. And any denial of that is simply a fracturing of your own psyche and a limitation in your ability to rise up out of fear and pain. As we move toward the light, we find that we are desiring and drawn to a more unified understanding of humanity, of the planet Earth, of our technology as a whole. So as we progress and we get greater discoveries, we believe that these greater discoveries are always enriching our lives. This is the law of progression. And the way that my philosophy works in Unicult and in the spiritual approach to emergent technology, which is based on the principles of Unicult, is that we are always progressing towards the light. Even when evil or harm is being done, evil and harm simply slows down your ability to progress into a greater, more enriched version of reality. Every moment, every thought, every action is simply leading us closer and closer to source energy, or to our most expanded timeline, or to our fulfillment as a species and as an individual. Progress happens over time, and no matter what your energy or your motivation is, you're always progressing. You can spiral down for a while, but even that downward spiral is part of your progress. So that's the underlying understanding that we're working with. And the idea is that you can't stop progress, but you can slow it down with detrimental energies. And to innovate in a way that is beneficial with the idea of all one, we have to think about it in the sense that no aspect of the manufacturing or advertising process is detrimental to anyone. And that's currently probably not actually possible on this planet or in this reality, but it's something that we should absolutely strive for. And if you're a business owner or not, it doesn't matter. Every action that you do, you should think, is this going to be potentially harming someone along the way? If you are someone who finds that you need a lot of clothing to express who you are, acknowledge at least where that clothing comes from and the processes that are detrimental in creating it. The highest vibrational clothing you can wear is not only reflective of your spirit, but has been manufactured and created in a way that's in harmony with the people who are sewing it, that's in harmony with the animals or plants of the materials that it was harvested, with the earth where it was grown, where the workers who wove the fabric or worked the machines to dye it, that they were treated well and there's no toxic chemicals involved in that process. That's a lot of things to track, and it shouldn't all be on the end user to monitor. But as we move forward with the all-one understanding, we can see that every decision that we make which harms another group is detrimental to ourselves. One of the most insane things that's recently happened is I'm trying to say things without getting blocked, but the occupation that's happening in, I heard all these different code words someone was using, the genocide that's happening. Let's just put it that way. The genocide that's happening, and the way that those people in their home are treated as though they are ants on a lawn for a group of people to come in and just exterminate so that they can set up their little beach blankets. That's kind of the way that it was talked about from the political reality. And that is reflecting a complete divergence in thinking from the idea that we are all one. The idea that you can simply exterminate an entire group of people in order to set up your beach properties shows a extreme and sad divorce of who someone is inside their own reality. They think that parts of themselves are worthy of extermination, of genocide, and that's going to not show up necessarily right away, because our society rewards that kind of thinking in a material sense. But on a spiritual level, you have to understand, like, this is a very real karmic cycle that they will be stuck in for a very long time. And not just time, but like a lot of suffering. So we can actually feel kind of sorry for the people who are not operating from the place of all one. Because when you don't, you're simply off-putting the spiritual work for potentially another lifetime, potentially, your future generations. There's reverberations that happen, and justice is that we are all one. Justice is that whatever you do to other people, you will eventually have to not only experience, but comprehend from both sides. So as you go about your life, just think about, what does it mean to act in a way that works with all one? What does it mean to actually have an open heart, connect with the other people in your life, connect with the processes of getting where you're going, not seeing reality in a hierarchy of a top-down power pyramid where you have to punch down to climb up? That's not reality. That's a false perception of reality that's been told to us through movies and books and the way that all of the systems on this planet works. Hierarchy is an unnatural mechanism of control that's infected your brain. It's infected all of our brains. So when you understand, you don't have to operate in a competitive mindset. You don't have to operate in a hierarchy. You don't have to operate in a way that harms other people. And that actually your abundance, your true abundance, I mean material abundance, I mean physical abundance, I mean emotional abundance, I mean all the love, all the joy, all the happiness, all the wealth you can ever imagine is actually going to come through the understanding that when you help other people, you are also helped. That when other people are thriving, that gives you the space to thrive even more. And then it gives them the space to thrive even more. And we bring each other up and up and up into heaven on earth. That's Unitopia. So our divine calling is to invent, create, improve. Designers itch to create more wholesome designs, but are usually limited because they're hindered by restrictions of materialism and greed and hierarchy. The law of progression means that not only do things get faster and sleeker, but they also inevitably fall more and more in alignment with the highest good for all. This is always happening, but it happens at a slower rate when detrimental energies are entrenched in a system. Capitalistic greed has worked to create immense benefit on this planet. We have to acknowledge, we are always moving towards progress. Even when things are negative, they are benefiting us. And they could benefit us a lot more if they weren't so negative or entrenched in greed. So capitalistic greed, yes, has created immense benefit on this planet. Incredible innovations of comfort, ease, and productivity surround most of us. It's easy to glorify capitalism and use it to explain our comfortable way of living, but it's not the explanation for our comfortable way of living. Capitalism is just a mechanism by which we have operated in the stream of progression that was inevitable. We inevitably would have gotten here no matter what system we used. Maybe not exactly here, but on the level of progress back to source energy. Greed-based capitalism has given us great strides in progress, but realistically, because it's not aligned with the good of all, it's actually severely limited with its regards to its own potential to provide maximized progress. The idea of maximized progress is even kind of a capitalist idea, right? But if you want to go as fast as you can towards the light into abundance reality for the spirit, the soul, the body, for every aspect of reality, you have to get on the train towards progress. As we spiritually progress, we will solve all of the problems that we face on this planet for everyone. And so capitalism has worked to sort of get us along the path closer to that place, but it's very limited in its ability to take us all the way. And that's because it's just indoctrinated with so much fear and pain and greed. Indicators of limitations of progress under capitalism include addictive design, slave labor in manufacturing, destabilized political relations, improper planetary resource management, poverty, access issues, etc. I think we all know the issues with capitalism, but those are just some of the material, very blatant, obvious reasons why it's not good. So let's talk about greed. My idea of greed, when I first started really digging deep and trying to conceptualize of what was wrong with this planet, what was going on here, and why is everything so bad, the only answer I could come up with was greed. And the idea that greed has infected people like a parasite. Greed has infected this reality. And it's not
always greed. And so when I say greed, I want you to understand that like when I say greed, what I mean is the desire to uphold a limited system, the desire to uphold capital at the center of society, the desire to uphold the hierarchy, because the fear of slipping in the ranks is greater than your ability to understand what exists outside of it. So greed isn't always this like, I mean, the way I used to think of it was like, these old white men are so greedy and they're like intentionally keeping us down. I think it's actually more than that. I genuinely think there's aliens involved. There's a right to rule mentality. But really, you have to understand, it's like the movie Bugs. We are all upholding the system as individuals. The system, we're all one. The system exists within ourselves. The hierarchies exist in your own mind. The limitations that you feel in material reality exist in your own consciousness. And you can do so much by accessing those limitations, by integrating them with love, and by overcoming them in your heart and in your mind. So greed is something we all share. It's not something like, oh, they're greedy and that's a bad thing. Greed is the fear of letting go of the current system. Greed is the attachment to who you are within this hierarchical structure and the inability to see beyond what hope and love and joy we could create in a different system. Greed is the unending fear that there is never enough. It's a lack-based mindset. Greed is not the same thing as self-love or self-preservation. That's important. Greed is not, oh, I need what I need to survive. No, you're allowed to need what you need to survive. That's not what I'm talking about. Greed is the unending fear that there is never enough. It's a lack-based mindset. It's an extraction process of like not having enough and taking everything there is from another person or from the land. Each person deserves to have their needs met. So it's not the same thing as needing something and having your needs met. That's not greedy. That's normal. Each person deserves access to a deep sense of psychological, spiritual, emotional, and material safety and security. But greed does not actually address this insecurity. Greed is insecurity to the point of damaging others and the self in the attempt to get more, more, more. Greed is the inability to see when there is enough to be secure and when there is enough to share. Greed must be eradicated from the process of innovation, creation, and distribution. So if your job involves innovation, creation, and distribution, work to eliminate greed within your thinking. Work to eliminate that lack-based mindset within your process of building new technologies, new systems, new processes, whatever it is you've got your hands in this world. Greed stems from lack. On Earth, we have many strange systems built on incorrect presuppositions. Money, for instance, is built on lack rather than abundance. Money is meant to represent abundance, but the way that it operates for the average person is from a place of insecurity, stress, and fear. These things are the antithesis of abundance. In order to progress societally and technologically, we must be aware of the emotional and spiritual implications our innovations and systems have on us. From the understanding of emotional and spiritual reality, we can more easily align our systems in a form of divine benefit. To eliminate greed from society, we must first eliminate lack. Automation, goods distribution, and systems of community resources must be created. Closing the wealth gap and providing the basic necessities of healthy food and safe shelter must be given to everyone. I understand that there are people in this world who are vibrating on a certain frequency in which when you give them something, they will lose it. And I think that when I'm saying, give people healthy food and a safe shelter, there are certain people who would reject those things outright. But they should still have the opportunity to partake in them. They should still have the ability to receive them. And then theoretically, other systems of, therapy should be developed to help people not reject their blessings. Because I think many of us have the issue of rejecting our blessings or self-sabotaging, and that comes from childhood wounding. And we really have to start raising children in a different way as well, so that they're not in a place of insecurity as they grow up. So those reverberations of insecurity don't happen through their lives. This is a bigger problem than just resource management, is all I'm saying. I get that. But to provide healthy food and safe shelter to everyone would be a great first step. From the place of abundance, we can then begin to work on the healing space, on healing the space that greed occupies in our global psyche as an interpretation of success. To change our collective understanding of success, we can promote new concepts of security through media and leadership. Healing programs for individuals and collective lack-based trauma can be made available to the public. As all things are on a macro and micro scale, you can personally begin this work by acknowledging spaces of lack and greed in your own psyche. In what ways are you competitive? In what ways do you feel that your success is predicated on other people's suffering? In what ways do you feel that you need more than others and that they should have less? In what ways do you feel that you never have enough? In what ways did you actually not have enough in the past? That's what I'm talking about. That reverberates. If you actually grew up in a lack reality as a child, whether it be money, love, attention, whatever, those lack-based realities form and solidify in the psyche. And then you operate as an adult from a place of needing endless. It could be anything, and this is the addictive mentality. It could be money, it could be drugs, it could be alcohol, it could be work, it could be lovers, it could be anything. If you feel like you could just never have enough, and you have this addictive, insatiable need, that comes from childhood. That comes from not getting enough love in childhood. Healing those wounds through shadow work, through internal family systems, through whatever kind of EMFR modalities that you find, will close that loop and allow you to live in a place of abundance rather than lack. So in what ways did you actually not have enough in the past is an important question, because what it means is that you're not evil for having an insatiable desire as an adult. That insatiable desire is valid, and it came from a valid situation where you actually grew up without enough love or support. As you learn how to close that loop and say, I was a helpless child in the past, but now I have the power to get what I need and know when it's enough, then you move into a place. That's when you move through the 4D into the 5D. People always say, why are we going from the 3D to the 5D? We're not talking about 4D. Well, 4D is the healing. 4D is the moving from a reactionary reality into a reality of infinite timelines. And what I mean by that is, let's say that you're feeling like you don't have enough money, and then you move through the fourth dimension into that reaction of looking at your bank account, seeing a number, having an emotional reaction. That's a third dimensional reality. Is like, well, logically, I see reality, I emotionally react to it, and then it recreates reality. I see reality, I emotionally react to it, and you're stuck in this 3D cycle. But as you move through the fourth dimension and you see beyond time, and you see that, wow, I can look at my bank account, I can see this number, and I can also acknowledge that, like, it's not real. And like, there's a million other possibilities outside of time, outside of this immediate reaction that could possibly be happening. And so you break that cycle of immediate reaction and you open up the quantum reality to any possibility that could ever exist. And from that place, you are abundant. From that place, you have security because you become empowered, right? So by closing that loop of desire, of need, of insecurity, you then advance your consciousness into the place of abundance. So then focusing on what ways are you genuinely feeling nourishment and abundance, and in what ways are you genuinely entitled to feeling that? My own journey has been, wow, I actually serve humanity better when I'm in an abundant reality. When I'm living in luxury, that's when I channel the highest frequency codes for this planet. I deserve to live in luxury. I deserve to live in abundance. That wasn't my past. I'm happy for my past. I feel like the hard things that I went through and the poverty that I went through allowed me to really root myself in the experience that a lot of other people are in. And it helped me understand what it's like to feel poverty mindset and also get out of it. But at the same time, that's not how I operate best. That's not where I feel the healthiest and most, and like I have the most to offer. I need my cup to be full so that I can share it with other people. And based on my astrology, based on my own little ego and intuition, like, I need to live in luxury. That's just how I operate best. So acknowledging that and allowing myself to know that about myself, and also expanding my consciousness to know that every person who desires to live in luxury also deserves to live in luxury, and opening my mind up to how can we create a society that is fully nurturing for every person who wants to live in luxury to live in luxury. And not everybody's idea of luxury looks the same. For some people, it's a yacht. For some people, it's a mansion. For some people, it's a farm. For some people, it just means having all their needs met. For some people, it's having robots do their cooking and cleaning. Luxury can mean a lot of different things, and it's not all this one idea of luxury, because I can tell you, if you get a mansion, it's a big house that's empty and you have to clean it all the time. I personally have found that I prefer a small house. Kids in Palestine absolutely deserve to live in luxury. Absolutely. And yeah, so we have to start from that understanding that everyone who wants to deserves to live in luxury. By healing your own wounds of lack and insecurity and replacing that energy with unconditional love for all, you will begin to call in radical, authentic abundance for yourself, your business, your projects, and Earth as a whole. As we eliminate greed from the planet, our technological progress will explode in ways we currently understand and in incredibly satisfying ways we cannot even begin to imagine. Our ability to eliminate greed and fear and that insecurity, that lack-based mindset from our own psyche, from our own consciousness, means that we will no longer be able to tolerate systems that are not in alignment for the good of all. So as you are going through your life and you eliminate that fear that you have to beat somebody else, that competitive understanding of hierarchy, as you integrate into the reality that everyone deserves the greatest life that they can imagine for themselves, and you trust that we can all have those things, that there is actually no limitation on resources, there is actually no limitation on what we can invent as far as solutions. Yes, there are limitations in resources in unsustainable ways, in ways that are not in alignment with all one, in ways that are detrimental to the earth energy, in ways that are detrimental to workers or even the people producing the products or consuming the products. That is an unsustainable system because it's rooted in greed. But when we eliminate greed and we allow for each person to live the truth of their own hearts, and we all become artisans again, and we all get empowered with different tools that are built sustainably, then we can actually create a society of all one understanding from within our own consciousness, from within our own psyche. Your power to do that is based on your power to integrate the hierarchy, integrate lack-based thinking in your own mind, in your own psyche. The power that you have is unbelievable. And you might not realize what I'm saying, but the thing is that as you transform your own internal system and you reject the toxic ideas of society, you create a force field of energy around you that actually manipulates reality. We are collectively creating material reality through our consciousness. And as our consciousness changes, so does the material reality. As you reverberate on a higher frequency of all one understanding, of eliminating greed and competition, and you understand love is actually the center of the universe, love is actually the thing that drives us all forward, love is the reason for existing, as you become a being of love, you radiate that energy out and attenuate all other people around you into that same frequency. They entrain to your frequency if they are open-minded to it. Many people will reject it because it's scary, because they think that that is the path of destruction, ironically, because they've been brainwashed to live in a place of fear and lack and think that that is their salvation, but it is not. Love is the only true salvation there is. So as you become a being of love and you radiate that out, you teach that to every person you encounter in the grocery store, at the bus stop, in the gas station, no matter where you are. If you are a being of love, it will be felt, it will be seen, and it will have a massive impact on this planet as it infects people with the truth, and it travels from one person to another as they become enlightened with the frequency that you bring to earth through your own integration of these darker ideas, of these more toxic ideologies that we've been led to believe are the only way. You're a very powerful person, and I thank you for doing the work of integrating and rising out of competition and lack and moving into the reality with love and understanding. It doesn't mean that you won't have your own autonomous reality, but it does mean that you will inspire people. I mean, there's so much to be said for the ego in this situation. If you can get your ego on board, and the ego wants to drive us all toward whatever the ego is a trauma-based vehicle. It's like a car that was built when you were born, and it fits around your body really comfortably, and it's a car to move forward in this society, in this trauma-based society. It's essential. It's part of your body, right? I'm not saying that we should be out walking. That would make us very vulnerable. But this vehicle around us of our ego is not the one who should actually be driving. Don't let your ego be on autopilot. You have to actually get behind the wheel and tell your ego where to go and why. The ego wants recognition. The ego wants to be a star. The ego wants to be successful. And if you can help the ego understand that it is a downward spiral to follow societal understanding, and you get your ego on board to say, we are moving in the light and love of the future. Like, we're leading the way. Like, we're actually so cool for doing this. Like, we're changing the world. We're extremely powerful because we do this. Your ego will eventually get on board and get excited to also take these things on. It's a process for sure. Let's see. Imagination never made day labor happen. I don't know what that means. We live in a beast system and it devours our love. Yeah, it's easy to become a victim in the system. It's designed to create victims. It's not friendly to light and love. It's about transforming reality radically in your own psyche to the point that reality actually changes outside of you. And it's simply the idea that you either see it to believe it or you believe it to see it. If you can get to the place where you can believe it to see it, it will transform in front of your eyes. And that doesn't mean that like evil isn't still happening and like injustice isn't still happening. It just means that you're changing your cynicism from a place of hopelessness into hope. You're saying, yes, the world sucks. Yes, everything is toxic. Yes, the hierarchy and detrimental energy is controlling this planet. But I believe in a hopeful future. I believe that as I change myself, it will change the world. I believe in a collective awakening. If you can change your cynicism from cynicism into hopefulness, you will have a radical impact on the direction of this planet as a whole. Revolutionary optimism is the only way to go. If you look at how many Black Mirror episodes, sci-fi books actually predicted the future, you can start to understand that wherever our attention goes, our energy flows. As we perceive the future in our third eyes, we create the future with our hands. Our minds are leading the way. Our hearts are leading the way. So whatever we believe is going to happen as a collective will happen. It's up to each of us to shift and shape our own perception of the future reality to the most beneficial reality possible, where every being is enlightened with love and resources so that we can build that reality. I get it. I get swept away by the news, by the people who are quote unquote in power right now. And it's absolutely terrifying at times to think that we are victims in this reality. But as we become empowered, we realize that we are the ants against the bugs, that there are many, many more of us than there are of them, and that we are creating the simulation. The only control they have over us is the control of our own third eyes and our perception of reality. As I have studied the CIA and as I have gone really deep on these, government organizations of control and of technology creation, what I have really tried to understand is what is their objective. Their objective is to protect America, but oftentimes they're actually attacking Americans and lowering our quality of life. So what is the true agenda? And my perception is that the true agenda is to create mass manipulation in our psyches so that we all create the same reality that they want us to create. They cannot create reality without our participation. So as we change our own mind, we change the world, we change the future, we change our own behavior through our hands, we change the energy we interpret and express with other people, and we change the actual mental model of what our future could look like and open up doors to brighter and brighter futures that we couldn't have possibly imagined otherwise, where everyone has their needs met, where we have technology that actually benefits us, where there is no transgression against humanity or the earth or any animal. You can imagine whatever reality you want to imagine, and it will become true as you hold that vision. The more you put your energy and labor toward acts that spring from your imagination, your life does improve. Absolutely. Your imagination is our salvation. This is Unicult. Unicult is a collective effort dedicated to the promotion of joy. If you would also like to promote joy and move towards a more hopeful future, you can join Unicult. Go to joinUnicult.com, and we would love to have you in our community. Thank you all so much for your attention. Your attention is a commodity. Your attention is a commodity. Your attention is important because it changes the world. Thank you so much. We'll see you next week for Cam Church. Uni bless.